Have you ever felt the sting of betrayal not from an enemy, but from someone you trusted completely? The friend who suddenly grows distant, the partner who leaves without explanation, the colleague who smiles to your face, then strikes when you least expect it. What hurts the most isn't just the act itself, it's the shock, the disbelief, the feeling of I never saw it coming. But what if the truth is the signs were always there? Carl Jung, one of the most influential minds in psychology, believed that betrayal is not random. It doesn't happen by accident. It follows a pattern, a hidden script buried deep in human psychology. Once you learn to recognize this pattern, you won't be blindsided again. So why do people betray you? And more importantly, how can you detect it before it happens? Stay with me because what you're about to discover may permanently change the way you see the people around you. Betrayal is not just an act, it's a process, a psychological storm that starts brewing long before the damage is done. Carl Jung believed that betrayal comes from what he called the shadow self, the darker, hidden aspects of the psyche that most people suppress. This shadow doesn't just disappear, it festers. And when triggered, it can erupt in unexpected and often destructive ways. So what does that mean for you? It means that when someone turns against you, it usually has less to do with you and more to do with them. Their unhealed wounds, their hidden insecurities, their unresolved inner battles. Abhorrent when your light triggers their darkness. Sometimes your growth doesn't inspire others, it unsettles them. When someone feels envious, inadequate, or forgotten, something shifts inside. But instead of facing those painful emotions, they take a mental shortcut. Their ego needs a villain, and suddenly that villain is you. To protect their fragile self-image, they twist the story they have changed. They don't deserve that success. And just like that, the betrayal begins not with action, but perception. Before a word is said or a move is made, their mind quietly builds a case against you. This distortion becomes the silent seed of betrayal. Let's make this real. You've worked side by side with a colleague exchanging ideas, celebrating wins. But then you're promoted. Suddenly they go quiet. No more shared notes, no more support. You overhear a sarcastic comment, then gossip. Soon you realize they're subtly undermining you. What changed? Your progress triggered their shadow self, the part of them that feels left behind. Instead of learning from your success, they resented it. That resentment, left unchecked, turned into betrayal. Or take another example. You've been improving your life, working out, eating clean, building something meaningful. You expect your friends to support you, but one starts throwing jabs. Look who's all spiritual now. Guess we're not good enough for you anymore. At first it feels like teasing, but it grows colder. They stop showing up. They dismiss your wins, not because you did anything wrong, because your light exposed their darkness. When people are confronted by someone else's discipline, courage, or success, they either rise with it or retreat into bitterness. Your growth reminds them of where they've stagnated. And instead of being inspired, their ego attacks. So how do you protect your energy? Pay attention to the subtle signs, the shift in tone, the forced applause, the quiet withdrawal, the jokes that cut a little too deep. Don't dismiss your gut. Set boundaries, protect your peace, and most importantly, don't take it personally, because their betrayal is not proof of your wrongness. It's a reflection of their unhealed wounds. Now, not all betrayals stem from insecurity. Some come from something colder, calculated manipulation. Carl Jung warned of the persona, a false self people wear to get what they want. They appear kind, supportive, even selfless, but it's an act. Ever had someone who only cheered for you when it benefited them? The moment you had nothing to offer, they grew distant or disappeared altogether. This isn't about envy, it's betrayal by convenience. Sometimes it shows up in love. A partner once devoted suddenly checks out. You go from planning your future to being ghosted. Why? Because to them the relationship was transactional. Once it no longer served their needs, they moved on. Jung was right. Some people don't betray because of who you are, but because their mask no longer needs you. So how do you guard yourself? Watch for inconsistency. Say no and observe. Set boundaries and see if they still show up. Real loyalty survives inconvenience. And if someone only values you when they benefit from you, it's time to walk away. Because staying connected to someone who sees you as a resource will drain you more than letting go ever could. The most painful betrayals aren't loud. They're quiet, polite, strategic, and they come from those who once called you friend. But here's the truth. Their betrayal is not a reflection of your worth, it's a mirror of who they truly are. And once you understand that, they lose the power to hurt you. Number two, when jealousy festers, betrayal follows. Jealousy is one of the most corrosive forces in human relationships. Carl Jung believed that envy arises when someone sees in you a reflection of what they feel they're missing in themselves. Your confidence, your success, your peace, or even your joy. At first, they may not even realize they're jealous. But over time, those hidden feelings bubble up, infecting how they think of you, talk to you, and ultimately how they treat you. Signs of jealousy, disguised as friendship. Fake praise and backhanded compliments. Jealousy often wears the mask of flattery. You got the promotion? Must be nice to have those kinds of connections. You're lucky. Some of us don't have time for the gym. On the surface, it sounds like they're happy for you. But dig deeper and you'll sense the sting. They can't celebrate your success because it reminds them of their own stagnation. So instead, they belittle it. They minimize your efforts. They say it's luck, not talent. Timing, not discipline. Coldness and sudden distance. One day you're close, the next they're ghosting you. They stop replying, stop inviting you, stop cheering you on. Why? Because every time you win, it reflects what they feel they have lost or never had. And instead of facing that pain, they'd rather push you away, or worse, betray you from the shadows. Real life example. Jealousy in action. Imagine starting a new job with a colleague who quickly becomes a friend. You both begin at the same time. But as months pass, your initiative is noticed. You're offered a promotion. Instead of congratulating you, they start whispering rumors. You know they only got promoted because the boss likes them. They smile in meetings but sabotage your work when you're not looking. Or take a childhood best friend. You both used to dream big. Now you're making those dreams real, launching your business, traveling, leveling up, but your friend stays stuck. And instead of being inspired, they become bitter. The jokes become sharper, the conversations colder. One day they share your secrets or turn your group of friends against you. Their jealousy became too loud to hide, and eventually it became betrayal. Number three, the hidden power struggle. Not all betrayal is born from jealousy or insecurity. Some betrayals happen because someone wants control over you, and when they feel that control slipping, they strike. Carl Jung warned that behind many relationships lie unspoken power dynamics. Some people feel safe only when they're dominant, And the moment you grow too confident, too independent, too free, they see it as rebellion. Have you seen this before? That boss who supported you until your brilliance outshined theirs. Suddenly, they micromanage you. Take credit for your work. Block your opportunities. That partner who seemed loving until you started setting boundaries. Then came the guilt trips, the silent treatments, the gaslighting. Not because they stopped loving you, but because they never wanted you to have a voice. They never saw you as an equal. They saw you as someone to manage, mold, and manipulate. Jung called this an unconscious ego battle, a tug of war for dominance. And when someone builds their identity around being in control, your personal growth threatens their sense of self. To them, your empowerment feels like their defeat. How they fight back. Undermining your confidence with passive-aggressive remarks, starting drama to shift attention or make you feel like the problem. Playing the victim to guilt you back into submission, protecting yourself. Recognize the game. If their support disappears when you assert independence, that's a red flag. Hold your ground. Don't shrink to make others feel big. Surround yourself with people who clap when you win, not those who compete for control. Because if someone betrays you to reclaim power, they were never truly in your corner. They liked you better when you were easier to control. Number 4, when they betray you for being their mirror. Now we return full circle to Jung's most powerful insight, the shadow self. The hidden repressed parts of us we don't want to admit exist. Sometimes, betrayal is not about what you did. It's about what you reminded them of. They accuse you of things they themselves are guilty of. The liar who calls you dishonest. The envious one who says you're the jealous type. The insecure one who says you've changed. This is called projection, a psychological defense mechanism where they dump their shadow onto you. Why? Because facing their own flaws is too painful. So it's easier to make you the villain in a story they can control. And that right there is where betrayal takes root, not in truth, but in illusion. At work, you may notice a colleague who constantly gossips, tears others down behind their backs. One day, out of nowhere, they accuse you of gossiping. You're stunned because you've done nothing wrong, but to them, the truth doesn't matter. They've projected their guilt onto you. Or maybe it's your romantic partner, you're faithful, loyal, transparent, yet they check your phone, question your loyalty, accuse you of things you never did. Why? Because deep down they're hiding something. It's not your betrayal they fear, it's the reflection of their own. Carl Jung explained this through the shadow self. When someone refuses to face their darkness, they look for an external enemy to carry it for them. They can't admit their flaws, so they find a scapegoat, and too often it's the person closest to them. They cheat, so they assume you will. They lie, so they accuse you of dishonesty. They betray, so they project betrayal onto you. They're not punishing you for who you are. They're punishing you for who they can't admit they are. So how do you protect yourself? Recognize projection. When accusations feel random or irrational, look deeper. Don't absorb it. Their pain doesn't belong to you. Set firm boundaries. You cannot save someone who won't face their own demons. When betrayal comes from projection, remember, you were never the problem. You were just the mirror. Number 5. When you were just a means to an end. Not all betrayals come with emotion. Some are ice-cold, strategic, calculated, and detached. It's the betrayal of being used then tossed aside like a tool that's no longer needed. This is narcissistic betrayal. They don't hurt you out of anger or regret. They hurt you because it benefits them. status, attention, access, validation. And when you stop serving that purpose, they vanish. No goodbye. As if you never existed. At first, they charm you, mirror your values, say all the right things. You think, finally, someone who understands me. But what they see isn't you. It's what they can extract from you. They don't build connection. They create attachment because the deeper you fall, the easier you are to control. Then something changes. Their replies get shorter. Their warmth fades. Affection becomes mechanical, robotic. And just as quickly as they pulled you close, they pull away. No reason, just silence. You're left with confusion, pain, and the truth. You were never the goal, just a bridge to something they wanted. Imagine a friend who always needs you. They call crying, he asks for help, need money, a place to stay. You rearrange your life to show up, but when you're the one struggling, they're too busy or gone. Later, you discover they've twisted the story playing the victim to gain sympathy from others. You weren't a friend to them. You were a dumping ground for their problems. Or picture a coworker you collaborate with. You give your best ideas. They praise your work. But when it's time for promotion, they get it using your work, your voice, your effort. You don't just feel betrayed, you feel erased. Why it hurts so much. This kind of betrayal cuts deeper because it makes you question, was it ever real? Did they care? How did I not see this? Worst of all, it makes you doubt yourself, your judgment, your kindness, your ability to trust. But here's the truth. Their betrayal doesn't define you. It reveals them. It exposes their emptiness, their inability to form genuine connection without control, their pattern of using people and blaming them when things fall apart. How to protect yourself. Kindness isn't enough. You need clarity. Watch what people do when they don't need anything from you. Red flags, they disappear when you say no. They're charming in public, cold in private. You always feel drained after being with them. They guilt you when you ask for fairness. Suddenly, you're the problem. Reclaim your power. Stop making excuses for those who only show up when it benefits them. Set boundaries not to shut people out, but to protect your peace. Don't confuse being needed with being valued. Your loyalty is rare. Don't give it to those who treat it as disposable. If someone betrayed you once for personal gain, chances are they'll do it again. Not because you lack something, but because they lack something they may never gain integrity. Final words, let betrayal be your awakening. Betrayal is one of life's most painful experiences. It stabs at your heart, shakes your trust, and leaves you questioning everything you once believed. But here's the truth. Betrayal is not your ending. It's your awakening. Because each act of betrayal strips away the illusion and reveals someone's true character. It's not a reflection of your weakness. It's a reflection of their integrity, or lack of it. And while the pain is real, it won't last forever. What will last is the wisdom you gain. So ask yourself, will you let betrayal make you bitter? Or will you let it make you wiser, stronger, more discerning? You don't need to harden your heart, just sharpen your awareness. Trust slowly, observe deeply, and never be afraid to walk away from those who do not honor your loyalty. Because at the end of the day, the right people will never betray you, and the wrong ones were never meant to stay. If this message spoke to something deep within you, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this video. Because someone out there is still blaming themselves for being betrayed. and they need to know it was never their fault.